I never thought a simple night's sleep could change my entire life. Just a few months ago, I was drowning in stress and self-doubt. Every morning felt like a battle to get out of bed. But one night after hitting rock bottom, I discovered something called sleep-based emotional release techniques. The idea was simple. While drifting into sleep, I would consciously let go of all negative emotions, fear, anger, regret, and imagine them dissolving like mist under the moonlight. That first night, I whispered to myself, "I release everything that doesn't serve me." And as I closed my eyes, I felt a strange peace. It wasn't a magic fix, but it was a beginning. I started practicing it every night. I would lie in bed, take a few deep breaths, and scan my body for tension. Then I'd picture each worry as a dark cloud, and I'd watch it float away into the night sky. Some nights were harder than others. My mind would fight back, clinging to the familiar grip of anxiety. But I kept going. I told myself that each small release was a step toward freedom, and slowly something shifted. I began waking up with a lighter heart. The mornings didn't feel so heavy anymore. I found myself smiling at small things, a ray of sunlight, the sound of birds, the simple act of stretching. I was reclaiming my life, one sleep at a time. Within weeks, the change became undeniable. My friends noticed I was more relaxed, more present. I stopped snapping at people over little things. I started taking on challenges I would have avoided before. That big project at work, I tackled it with calm confidence. The strained relationship with my sister, I mended it with a heartfelt conversation. I realized that by releasing my emotions during sleep, I was making space for new energy and positivity to enter my waking hours. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was thriving. Sleep became my sanctuary, my reset button. Today, I look back at that version of myself, the one who struggled to get out of bed, and I feel so grateful. This technique gave me a tool that I can use for the rest of my life. It's not about perfection, it's about practice. Some nights I still feel the old doubts creep in, but I know how to let them go. I whisper those same words, I release everything that doesn't serve me, and I drift off with a sense of hope. If you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or just tired of carrying the weight of negativity, I urge you to try this. Give yourself permission to let go as you fall asleep. Your dreams will be clearer, your mornings brighter, and your life will transform from the inside out. A positive life truly begins here, in the quiet moments before sleep. The second week was transformative. I started to notice patterns, how my mind clung to old stories like I wasn't good enough. But during those tender moments between waking and sleep, I practiced forgiveness. I forgave myself for past mistakes. I imagined each memory turning into soft, floating bubbles that popped and faded. One night, I felt tears stream down my face, but they weren't sad tears. They were tears of relief. I realized that sleeping wasn't just a passive state, it was an active act of healing. By releasing emotional baggage before sleep, I woke up lighter, more hopeful. My mornings began with energy, not dread. I remember the morning after that breakthrough. Sunlight crept through the curtains, and for the first time in years, I didn't want to hit snooze. I sat up, stretched, and felt a quiet clarity. It was like my mind had been decluttered. All those worries about work, about relationships, about my own worth, they were still there, but they didn't weigh me down. They were just thoughts, not anchors. I started a new ritual before bed. I would write down 3 things I was grateful for, and then I would mentally release them into the night. Each anxiety became a leaf floating down a stream, drifting away. Within days, my sleep deepened. I stopped waking up at 3 a.m. with a racing heart. My dreams became softer, more like gentle stories than frantic chases. By the end of that month, the change was unmistakable. My friends noticed. "You seem lighter," they said, and I was. I had stopped carrying the world on my shoulders. Sleep had become my sanctuary, not just a pit stop from exhaustion. I learned that emotional release isn't a one-time event. It's a practice. Some nights it's easy. Other nights I have to coax myself like a child into letting go. But every night, I give myself permission to rest. And every morning I wake up a little more free. Now I look back at that first week of struggle with gratitude. Those tears taught me that healing isn't about being strong all the time. It's about being soft enough to let the pain pass through. Sleep-based emotional release didn't just improve my nights. It rewired my days. I chase my goals now, not out of fear, but out of joy. I speak to myself with kindness. And when I lie down at night, I whisper to the universe, I did my best today, and tomorrow I'll try again. That whisper carries me into a peace I never knew existed. This is my new beginning. This is how I turned my life around, one restful night at a time. By the third month, I had built a ritual. Before bed, I wrote down 3 fears and 3 hopes. I would speak to them aloud, give them space, and then say, now I let you go. I began to feel a shift inside, a quiet confidence that had been buried under layers of exhaustion. I started taking small risks, speaking my truth at work, reconnecting with friends, saying no to what drained me. Each night, as I sank into my pillow, I told myself I am safe. I am enough. This mantra became my anchor. My life wasn't perfect, but I was no longer held captive by my own mind. I was learning to fly while dreaming. I remember the nights when I was trapped in my own mind. Lying in bed, my heart would pound, replaying every mistake, every harsh word, every feeling of inadequacy. Sleep wasn't a refuge. It was a battlefield. I would toss and turn, my thoughts spiraling until exhaustion finally took me under. Waking up felt even worse, like I hadn't rested at all. It was a cycle of sorrow, and I believed it would never end. I was convinced that my life as I knew it was broken beyond repair. But one evening, I stumbled upon a simple idea: sleep-based emotional release. It sounded almost too soft to be powerful. Yet desperate for a change, I decided to try. That first night, I didn't force myself to forget my problems. Instead, I lay still and listened to my own breath. I whispered to myself, I let go of today. I release what I cannot control. The words felt foreign at first, but I repeated them like a gentle lullaby. Slowly, the tension in my shoulders melted, and I drifted off into a sleep that felt deeper than any I had known in years. The next morning, I felt different. It wasn't a dramatic transformation, but there was a softness in my heart, a lightness in my step. I realized that during that night of release, I had allowed my subconscious to process my pain. The technique wasn't about fighting my emotions. It was about welcoming them, acknowledging them, and then letting them go with each exhale. I made this a nightly ritual. I would close my eyes, place a hand on my chest, and speak my fears out loud in the safety of my room. I released my anger over that argument. I released the shame from that mistake. I released the worry about tomorrow. Weeks passed and the results were undeniable. My anxiety quieted. My dreams became more vivid and soothing. I started waking up energized, ready to embrace the day instead of dreading it. Sleep had become my partner in healing, not my enemy. I learned that our minds are like a garden. If we let weeds of negativity grow unchecked, they choke the flowers of joy and peace. Sleep-based emotional release became my nightly weeding. I would imagine each worry as a dark cloud, and as I breathed out, I watched it dissolve into the night sky. Today, I can honestly say I've turned my life around. Sleep is no longer my escape, but my sanctuary. I've realized that positive change doesn't require a grand overhaul sometimes. It begins quietly in the space between breath and slumber. If you're struggling, know that you have the power to release what hurts you. It starts with a single night, a single whisper, a single choice. Every dawn is a new chance, so I invite you as I lay down tonight to try. Let go, dream deep, and let the night heal you. A positive life doesn't start with a big event. It starts with a peaceful sleep, and it is always, always possible.